Hey, Julie. So we have just come off the big train of grammar, and now we're going to move into how spoken language cannot be understood by just words alone. And I understand that you have, a small ritual that you want to share with us that we can really unpack together to really, hit home in terms of how context shapes what language does and how speaking is a form of action. So take it away.
I really had a hard time with this one because I was thinking about, like, when we're thinking about speech acts, there's like different speech acts, and then I was thinking, are we going to do like a small example of each one? But we don't have that kind of time too. But then I was thinking, actually, again, it goes back to what we were saying about how it's never just about the language in itself, but the whole package of what we do. And it just like, I didn't really need to think hard about this. And I started thinking about, my yearly trips back to Korea and the kind of like cultural practices that, play out there. And I'm sure, this must happen in Vietnam too, and also even in context in Australia and the communities of like Vietnamese Australians and so on. But I was thinking about the ritual of giving money to elders, and I got ChatGPT to help me, kind of like visualize this.
Yeah.
But it was interesting to think about. Like, of course, intuitively, I know because I do it every year. And then I'm sure, like, year after year, like, I have been taught just verbally by adults, like, how to do that. And once I started making money, I had to do it, So I think I just knew intuitively, but it was great to be able to, like, write it out and say, okay, like, what's happening here? So, the whole idea here is really about the right time, right space, and the way in which we do something. So often, like, what I will do, and I know that not all Koreans do this, but this feels like really right to me. And I'll talk about why. But, like, folding the money in a very, like, compact way that fits my palm is really good because like, the showing of money, I think, is a little bit rude.
That's true.
Yeah. And I used to do this in Sydney, where I had a cleaner who would come and clean my house, and she was, Korean. And I just felt there's something like wrong that I'm younger than her, and and somebody cleaning your house, like this kind of thing is, I felt like, I don't know, I felt guilty, I felt bad, even though it's just a transactional thing. And so I'd always want to put the money inside an envelope, and I would give it to her. And like, she's a very busy person. Like, she's just cleaning, and just, you pay the money and she's gone. And like, I did it like 3 times. And then one day she just said, next time, no envelope needed. Right. Okay. So like, they have a whole thing about, like, I don't want that money to be shown. And so I fold it in a very particular way. I'm holding it in a very particular. I put it in a pocket. I like to wear clothes on that day where it's like pockets are very easy to access, And I'm thinking about all of these things, like, and the cues of, like, because there's uncles and aunties and lots of people around, like, oh, do they look like they're going to leave now? Oh, I better get ready.
Like, it's true. That's all part of it, though.
Yeah, of course.
And at the door, there has to be a door nearby. Sorry. Yeah.
So I've got all that, like, even before the doing of anything, I've just spent, like, like probably 30, 40 minutes thinking about this thing. Okay, and then when it's time to actually go, then we got to do the ritual. And it's the same every single time, like, without fail.
Yep.
You would think that some years maybe they're getting older and they might say something different. No. He's like, oh, okay. And so I would say, like, oh, that's just for your allowance, just it's a little thing. It's not much. And I always give the same amount anyway. So, but they will then be like the shock, right? Like, oh, and then no, right? And then they push my hand away, and I'm like, and then I have to, like, push against their strength. And I'm like, no, like, you take it, and then I have to put it inside whatever pocket I can find that they're wearing,
Yep.
right? And it's at that stage that like they don't push back any further. They're like, oh, okay, well, thank you. I'll use it really well, and thank you so much. Like so whatever. And that should be the end, because if it's any more than that, other people around will be like, what's going on there? Like, because you want this to be a kind of private thing, something that, you have an intimate relationship with this person and you want to give them, something, right? So they then put it inside either their bag or, whatever. And there isn't that much more time where, you need to like talk about anything. So it's like, okay, now I'm going to go. And then the minute that you leave, and of course it brings such happiness, right? But by that time they're very happy, and I'm happy too, because I feel that they are happy, and it's all good.
You're a good granddaughter.
Yeah. So then when we leave, that immediate thing when after you leave, people want to talk about you. Like, oh, isn't that Julie just the sweetheart? Like, just so good. Oh, you really raised her well. So it gives face to my mother.
Yeah.
Right? And that's really important for me in particular, because I don't live in Korea, and like I don't get to do stuff for her and the community, like all my aunties who maybe like look after her while I'm not there, and so it's a really important thing for me to do. Very expensive thing too, because I got a lot of aunties.
Yeah.
But that whole ritual, right? When we break it down, I think it is actually kind of interesting to think about. And I've never thought about it this way, but so I'm learning quite a lot too. And I just started making some notes. Okay, so yeah, let's think about this, right? This the scripted refusal. When they say no, I mean, is that really a no?
No.
Right? We both know the script.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you have to say no to maintain your face. Like, yeah.
And all the felicity conditions, all the appropriate like conditions need to be in place. Like I need to have that, good pocket, thing, and like it needs to be at the right time,
and the money being scrunched up also helps, like, or folded, because it's part of that.
And not like suddenly taking it out and going, oh, and how much am I going to give that person?
Yeah.
Like no, it has to be quick, swift. You got to be really like have charisma doing it. Okay. So when we are thinking about speech tracks, okay, then we're really thinking about like doing things with words, which we have been talking about a lot so far. And so saying no here, it really doesn't refuse. It's preserving that dignity. Okay, and then we want to start thinking about these terms like locutionary, illocutionary, and perlocutionary, which is not easy to even pronounce. But okay, what's your understanding of locutionary?
I studied this last night, everyone. What is said? The no.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then what about the illocutionary?
What is done? What is done? So actually, like, by refusing it, what is actually... Is it that second layer of by refusing it? What does that actually mean?
Yeah. So what you're doing by saying those words, right? And in this case, that would be to preserve the dignity, and it allows acceptance. And I tend to, when I learned about this in grad school, I called it. I mean, I was taught to call it like illocutionary force. That there's a force behind, right? So that's how I tend to use it. And then the perlocutionary, which is
the effect.
Yeah.
So what happens afterwards when you leave?
Yeah.
The effect of that act.
Yeah. So I tend to talk about it as like the illocutionary force and the perlocutionary effect. So yeah, at the end of the day, she doesn't take it out, doesn't look, it doesn't count, says thank you. That closes that ritual. And for all this to happen, those felicity conditions that I talked about, become really important for the ritual to work, right? The right timing, end of the visit, the right participants, younger to older, the right sequence. And if any of these conditions are not right, the speech act may fail. Or it just would be a bit different or weird or whatever.
This just makes me think of a particular incident one time. I was at a friend's house. And I'm very accustomed to this kind of like scripted refusal, like this, no, like, I can do it, right? And I'm not sure if it's a common thing of Asian households of just being like, no, just let me take care of it. Like if I'm already in charge and responsible, like I will continue on with the act. Anyway, I was at a friend's house and in the kitchen washing the dishes. So I go in, I'm like, oh, do you need help? Expecting they'll be like, no, like I don't need. And then they were just like, yeah, okay, do it. And I was like, what? And I was like, oh, I actually have to do the dishes now. But like the felicity conditions, right? I was like not expecting, like firstly the timing threw me off in the sense where they're like, okay, just do it. I was like, you're not going to like engage in scripted refusal with me. Like I have to do it now to save face. Like I was just being polite, being present. And then it was like, okay, I'm doing the dishes.
Well, I was just thinking about how when you learn another language and then you're speaking somebody else's language, right? Like in China, you're speaking and people are like, oh, your Chinese is so good, and you're supposed to do that whole like nally, like no, like all this stuff, right? And I just sometimes think, what if somebody one day just went, oh yeah, you're not that good actually, it's like, oh, what do you say after the, like, I don't know any script for that, right?
Yeah.
So and I'm finding actually in the more like younger generation, they are switching things up a lot. So sometimes I think they're doing it intentionally. Sometimes I think they genuinely maybe want somebody to help me wash these dishes. Why should I do them by myself?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I see this actually a lot in Korean dramas where like young women who are getting married, they don't want to be washing the dishes all by themselves, after the whole family eats.
Yeah.
And so they're like more outspoken. And when they need help, they say it. And, you see these mother-in-laws is like, oh, you have to do this all by yourself. I'm so sorry. It's like, no, help me.
Yeah.
And like mother-in-law's like what? What?
But it's the same for like paying the bill now. Like I used to, back in the day, you'd nudge the person over, you take my card, no, you take my card. And then you'd like have that little fight at the counter. But then now it's like, oh, okay, if you take it, I'll just wire you back later. It's like,
that's so true. That's so true.
I'm like, okay. Like scripted refusal sometimes does not work. Like, but it's interesting how I guess these speech acts, like what is said and then what is done and the effect after that, like it all plays out in its own way.
Yeah. And really at the end of the day, like if we really need something, we're not just gonna stick to the script, are we? We're gonna tell like, help me, come on. But I think what's really actually important in the example that I've given is the notion of face is really, really important. And I'm sure that I don't like the way that people talk about, face is the only important thing in like Asian culture. Like face is important everywhere. What culture what human doesn't want a bit of face, right? Like, so I don't think that's right. But like in my example, for my mom, like this is a really important thing for me to do for her. And of course it's for myself too, that kind of all the parties doing the work to make sure faces all kind of maintained. So a very complex thing. It's not just a matter of giving money.
Yeah.
You see, that's the really important thing here, right? With this interaction ritual, it's not just the matter of like, I've given money. Like, what do you want from me? I did my job. It's like you do the whole thing, right? These terminologies are really important because this is how we start to talk about rituals, face, felicity conditions, speech acts. These are all, they sound like really, really big, humongous things, but they're actually just, everyday terms, really. So yeah, I think that speaking again, like we said this about words, we said this about grammar, we said this about sounds, but speaking is never just about words either or speaking.
Yeah,
You know,
that's right.
it's a very complex thing, and any everyday thing you want to break down, it's going to be full of interesting dynamics. And because humans don't just, work in scripts, I think that means that we're always going to be thinking, hey, why does she say that? Why does she say that with that inflection? And what does she mean with that little like gesture? And sometimes it's hard to even like just capture because like the ways in which we perform in the everyday is so quick. Like if I'm a researcher and I'm recording everything, I'm looking everything by the nanosecond, right? But we don't do that in our everyday lives. So yeah, meaning is flowing in all directions, how you understood it, how I understood it. And that's why at the end of the day, dialogue becomes so important. And having these concepts to talk about this.
Yeah.
Hey, when you did that, it really made me feel like I lost face or, whatever it is.
Yeah.